putting out questionable product after questionable product, last year the Miracle Box Set was released, finally giving us Queen fans something new to talk about. We got a whole album of previously unreleased material, for God's sake. Besides that, we also got the release in a bunch of different formats. Along with the News of the World 40th anniversary release in 2017, we've got two big releases that have pleased fans for the most part. So another one of these big releases could be possible in the next few years. This year is 50 years since the debut, and Greg Brooks is set to announce something in September for Freddie's birthday party, but I'm more interested in Queen's 14th studio album, Innuendo. This is the first Queen album I actually listened to after the greatest hits, and it might just be my favourite album from the band. Just an emotional, grand and dark journey, reflecting Freddie's rapidly declining physical state, and releasing just months before his death. I want to take a deep dive into how Queen Productions Limited could approach a release like this, and improve on their previous efforts. Let's start with the big centerpiece of a release like this, the box set. I prefer a more minimal box than the Miracle Box Set, as it costs way too much with things like art cards, a poster, postcards, which I think is just a waste of space when it comes to a set like this. And also it's just a cheeky way for Queen Productions Limited to just increase the price. Also, a lot of people seem to be complaining about the DVD and Blu-ray being included in the Miracle set, which I agree with. Ideally, a 4K disc with 4K remasters of all the videos could be great, but just a Blu-ray is fine. An addition of a DVD, which is just an outdated form of media anyway, is another way of just increasing the price. Overall, a few discs, a vinyl, and a good thick hardcover book in a well packaged box with no space wasted is what I think would please a Queen fan, with the right price of course. If they were to add more elements to the box though, replica singles on vinyl, even the hints of Innuendo cassette could be great to see in this set, as it includes some interesting oddities and alternate material that's not worth including on the CD, like heavily edited versions of album tracks. Or a B-side like Queen Talks, which is just an edited interview of the band. Talking of interviews, it would be great seeing interviews from the band as well as Brian and Roger during the Innuendo era in their entirety, as some are available but are heavily edited or in poor quality. It could be great seeing these in video and audio on a separate disc in the box, as they give an insight into how the band was feeling at the time, similar to the interview disc in the Miracle Box Set.
I gotta ask you this right off the bat, because your North American fans are starved to see you live. Are you going to tour this time? My gosh.
We hope so, yeah. I mean, the signs look good, but we still have to persuade Freddie that he actually wants to be out there. Maybe we can talk about that later.
A disc featuring an instrumental version of the album was included in the Miracle Box Set, and it would be great in an Innuendo box set. It's just great hearing the amazing instrumentation on this album from Brian, Roger and John coming to the forefront. In terms of videos for Innuendo, we have a lot of release material to choose from. There are multiple versions of the Innuendo video, and These Are the Days of Our Lives, with a bunch of behind the scenes material for tracks like Headlong and I'm Going Slightly Mad. New remasters of these videos could be great, as they are some of Queen's most creative and artistic in my opinion. You've also got the video for The Show Must Go On, which features various clips from Queen promo videos as well as live performances from the 80s. It could be nice if there was a re-edit of this video, using better quality sources and adding new clips that improve the video, similar to the various edits of the In My Defense video. Like I said, this could be included in the set as a Blu-ray or a 4K, but a separate release could be great in Blu-ray, 4K or DVD options. Again, for people who just want a particular part of the set, including myself, because I really wanted to own the remastered Miracle videos physically. A companion book could be great with JJ Granville illustrations that were colorized for the Innuendo era, as there is a good amount. I really like the weird and wacky nature of these illustrations and how they fit the tone of the album overall. Photos of the band could be great, as well as behind the scenes information and in-depth liner notes. Again, this could be released in the box set, but separately as well in hardcover and paperback versions. A deluxe CD set could be released for people who just want a minimal amount of packaging, with a new remaster and a bonus disc with new session tracks included. This could be included in the set as well as separately. A vinyl re-release of the new remastered album could be good as well, and a double record could be released for people who want the session tracks on vinyl. And finally, extra formats such as a picture disc or cassette could be released separately separately, as they are more obscure formats. I am just really spitballing and imagining what could make a truly great and memorable Queen release, but being realistic, Queen Productions Limited will probably continue with what they have been doing with the past few big releases, which I don't think is disappointing by any means, but it could really be improved. For reference, recent box sets from David Bowie and the Beatles come to mind with how well packaged they are, as well as separating the vinyl from the CDs, which I think is a pretty good idea actually. In terms of remastering, I'm not an expert when it comes to audio, but fans have complained about the 2011 remaster, saying it is too compressed, and it would be great to see a new remaster or mix that really sounds great. Apart from that, the only album change would be to include the video version of Headlong over the album version, as it has an extra guitar part around a minute in, which was left out for some reason.
The new album is great. I think it's the best one for quite a long time. There's nothing in it that I'm embarrassed about. You know, very often you put out an album and you think, oh, but I wish we'd done this, you know. This one I feel quite happy about, and I can listen to it without any problem.
Now let's take a deep dive into all the known versions of tracks that could appear on a bonus disc, starting with, obviously, Innuendo. This is the first single from the album and marked Queen's return to the #1 spot in the UK a decade after Under Pressure. It's also a rare Queen collaboration, with Yes guitarist Steve Howe providing flamenco guitar in the breakdown section. There are various edits of this track that are unnecessary and ruin the flow of the track, but the explosive version that features on the 12-inch actually adds something to the track with a big explosive sound at the end, and it could be interesting to see on a bonus disc. This is a very humorous yet haunting Queen track which began in Freddie's London house after he had the idea of writing a song about madness. Freddie and his friend Peter Straker stayed up all night in the kitchen devising progressively more outlandish lines. The mad mix of this song definitely needs to be included on a bonus disc. It makes an already weird Queen song even weirder and features extra lyrics, double track vocals, stereo effects and some different guitars. This mix was actually released on the bonus EP for Innuendo back in 2011 when it was found on a 1990 stereo master tape.
I'm one card short of a full deck. I'm not quite the shilling. I can live with you.
This track was actually intended for Brian's solo album Back to the Light, but he instead gave it to the band since Freddie, Roger and John were fond of the track. In the US, the track was remixed by Brian Malouf for a promo single featuring extra keyboards and effects applied to Freddie's solo vocal. Then you have the absolutely explosive Rocks retake from 1997 for the compilation Queen Rocks, which feels even more like an Innuendo track than the album version. It was said to be more along the lines of how May and Taylor originally wanted the track to sound, with Roger's original live drums and re-recorded guitar from Brian. Then finally, you've also got the non-album B-side to I'm Going Slightly Mad, Lost Opportunity, which is a very bluesy track and was recorded in January 1991 at Mountain Studios in just one take.
It's sort of a continuation of The Miracle, but I think it's a lot less poppy, and I think it's richer and it has more depth.
Now let's go through what a disc of demos could look like. This track was premiered by Queen producer David Richards during the party to celebrate the Italian Queen community's 5th anniversary online in November 2010, and an audience recording was made during his presentation which was leaked onto the internet the same year. Richards said to the audience that he had discovered a tape that had been forgotten about after being left in storage for so long. This tape contained the demo along with other recordings made by the band around 1989. This track alone is a pretty slow tempo jam which features the whole band performing. Around half the lyrics are in place and about half are typical Freddie ad-libs. It originated from an early Innuendo session in 1989 and it is unknown if a more complete version of the song exists. This is a fully instrumental jam with heavy guitar work, standout drums and a fast pace. The instrumental would have served as a basis for a backing track and it includes the end of another take or another track for the first 21 seconds. then a nearly full take lasting 2 minutes, which fades out at the end. It originates from early Innuendo studio sessions in 1989, and again it's unknown if a more complete version of the song exists. Once again, it was premiered by Queen producer David Richards during the Italian Queen community's 5th anniversary, and an audience recording was made during this presentation and was leaked online the same year. This is a demo dominated by drums and synthesizer keyboards, with bass from John and with a guitar solo from Brian. It includes Brian providing lead vocals whilst Freddie sings the bridge, which sounds very similar to I Can't Live With You.
Do you wanna be my honey? Do you wanna be my girl? I'm having a hard time. I'm walking a fine line.
It also has a very long instrumental outro. It appears to be nearly complete with some mumbled lines from Brian, and is thought to be written mostly by Brian with some lines from Freddie. This was recorded in 1990, presumably from the Montreal sessions, and there are 2 versions available: a recording from a Greg Brooks presentation at the 2000 Fan Club convention, and a higher quality studio recording, with the convention version having a longer instrumental intro by around 10 seconds, and the studio version having a longer outro, with the convention recording fading 20 seconds earlier. This demo is very heavy on synthesizer keyboards and drums, with an almost funky feel. Freddie's vocals are very rough and undeveloped, and the lyrics are simplistic and ad-libbed, probably just being there as a guide vocal. Fans also pointed out that Freddie's vocals were confined to 1 channel, which is a trademark of John Deacon Queen songs. It was presumably recorded in 1990, and 2 versions are available, again being a convention and studio recording, both being the same take. This premiered at the 2000 Fan Club convention by Greg Brooks, with the higher quality studio version leaking later. This is a fast-paced heavy track similar to Headlong or The Hitman, which features a lot of dominating guitar. It includes vocals from Freddie for the first 30 seconds, with the rest being instrumental. The lyrics are fairly simplistic and improvised, with Freddie's parts there for future lyrics. It's thought to be written by either Roger or Brian, and it was recorded in 1990. 2 versions are available, convention and studio, again being the same take. It once again premiered at the 2000 Fan Club convention from Greg Brooks, with the higher quality studio version leaking later. This is arguably the most sought after Queen related recording. It's rumoured to be an early demo or outtake of Innuendo, although Queen archivist Greg Brooks claimed it wasn't a demo for Innuendo, more likely a working title for The Hitman, which may explain why it wasn't used on Made in Heaven. Very little else is known about the track. It's also rumoured to have a similarity to Led Zeppelin's Kashmir, which Robert Plant actually performed in a medley with Innuendo at the tribute concert. I mentioned this in my Iceberg video, but there's an extremely funny fake demo that was made a few years ago and has unfortunately been taken down from YouTube, and I can't find it anymore, so I'll play that clip from my Iceberg video to show you just how ridiculous it sounds. Attempting to imitate Freddie. This is a track that actually ended up on Roger's 3rd studio album Happiness, but Greg Brooks name-checked it at the 2003 Fan Club convention, where he claimed it had its beginnings in the Innuendo sessions in 1990. And little is known of the differences or similarities between the Queen version and the final Roger Taylor solo version. This also ended up on a Roger solo project, that being the Cross's 3rd album Blue Rock. Greg Brooks again revealed that the song was recorded during the Innuendo sessions, but remained unfinished due to objections from John. A lot of fans have actually pointed out how the refrain sounds very similar to These Are the Days of Our Lives. An early 1989 version of Innuendo has been played at a fan club convention, which lacks backing vocals and includes an alternate vocal tape from Freddie, and it would be great hearing this version in higher quality. Greg Brooks has also confirmed that a demo version of the track also exists in the vaults, which features Roger singing lead vocals as a guide vocal for Freddie. Freddie also did a message to the fan club convention in 1990, where he sang over an alternate, more basic version of I'm Going Slightly Mad on synthesizer.
I'm going completely mad.
There's a bunch of different demos of Headlong available to the public. A more stripped down guide vocal version featuring Brian on vocals was recorded in Allerton Hill Studios mid 1990 and was later featured on the 2011 bonus EP. Headlong actually started off as a solo track for Brian's upcoming Back to the Light project. However, when Brian heard Freddie sing it, he decided it would work better as a Queen track. Another version of this premiered at the 16th International Fan Club Convention in Presterton with a drum machine and original bass and guide vocal. We also have a demo version with very simplistic drums and some bass from John, and is sung by Freddie and Brian.
And you're rushing headlong, you got a new go, and you're rushing headlong.
Finally, the Hints of Innuendo tape also gave us an edited, rougher take of the track with no backing vocals.
And you're rushing headlong, out of control, and you think you're so strong.
An early alternate mix of Don't Try So Hard was played by producer David Richards during the Italian Queen community's 5th anniversary, featuring a slightly different vocal tape being used, heavier guitar and different drums. Ride the Wild Wind has an instrumental bass demo which premiered at the 16th International Fan Club Convention in Presterton and features heavier drums and a different beat with Roger singing the lead vocals. I can't actually find a recording of this version, so I'm not sure if one exists. There is a guide vocal version which also includes Roger on lead vocals with an overall rougher feel and a different guitar solo from Brian, and this appeared on the 2011 bonus EP. A demo of Delilah is available, which features a more basic mix and a bunch of ad-libs from Freddie. It also features the infamous lyric, "You make me happy when I'm about to die," which changes a light-hearted fun track into something much darker if you take into account Freddie's suffering during the recording of this album.
When I'm just about to cry.
Finally, there is an edited version of a demo of The Hitman on the Hints of Innuendo cassette, which features Brian on vocals and has more explicit lyrics, and it would be great hearing a full version of this early take.
Just get on with it. Otherwise I'll forget my name and then
And that really covers it. Different packaging options, which tracks could be included, and what Queen Productions Limited should really think about when it comes to a set like this. Obviously, the Miracle box set surprised us with early versions of songs that we had never heard before, along with new instrumental mixes, so there could be a bunch of Innuendo era stuff that Gregory Brooks has locked up in his vault. I feel like I want to do more Innuendo content, looking more into songs' backstories and why I personally like this album so much. So if you're interested in that, please give the video a like and maybe consider subscribing.